Welcome back to another video. Today we are in Cutler Bay. This is way south of where you guys are usually seeing my videos taking place in Miami, a bit north of here. We're outside of Southland Mall. This is a dilapidated mall. A lot of stores are reportedly closed. I haven't been here ever, so we're gonna go check it out for the first time, see the store closures and see what's open and what's not. And the bigger story here is the fact that it's being redeveloped as part of a $1.5 billion redevelopment into what's going to be called South Place City Center. And the first phase is actually broken ground in February, a couple months back this year. And so we're standing just outside of what's going to be known as the current at City Center. You guys can see a render here. Just to give you guys a perspective, the current at City Center is going to be an 8-story apartment building with 350 units. They're going to have a parking garage, 24,000 square feet of retail, including Presidente Supermarket, which caught me by surprise. It is going to be completed end of 2027. The mall is just right over there. That is the mall right there. We're on one side of it. It's a pretty big mall. I'm going to throw up a render because on the website for this development project, you can see there's a Five Below on the left. Currently in existence, a redesigned Southland Mall signage with obviously the renaming, and then a Ross that is going to be built right in this space here. All right, let's take a peek inside Southland Mall. Like I said, I've never been here, so I don't even know what to compare it to, but let's see how many stores are open and how many are currently closed. All right, we've arrived to one of the more open spaces here. I can't knock it for having no foot traffic right now because it is 10 in the morning on a Wednesday and stores are still opening. But we can see there's a luggage store open, TJ Maxx is currently open. And then we're heading towards the food court, Macy's and JCPenney. And then some of the small vendors are currently opening up right now. I'm not sure what this was, but it is currently closed, like closed, not waiting to open this morning. We have Charlotte Russe, which is currently advertising a store closing sale at this location only. Right, here are the food court offerings. There are some good places still open. You can see Subway, Teriyaki Ninja. There's one place that is closed over in the back. You see big name stores like the Children's Place is still open. We've got a Foot Locker still open, but if we go just across, there's a massage place open, Guess is open. This is currently available, being advertised as available space for a potential future tenant. Because the mall will still exist, it's just gonna be within the redevelopment. So we got another space available just beside it. There is, to my surprise, another space currently available. There is, to my surprise, a GameStop that is still open. We got Finish Line open. And then another open, empty space here, flanked by space available. K Jewelers still exists. It's just closed right now because it is pretty early. Florida Technical College is part of this mall. Right across from it, more space available. Looks like a decent sized space for a potential tenant. We're walking towards the Regal Cinema 16, which is still open. It looks very, very, very classic. I don't know, it doesn't look like the modernized Regals I've been to. This looks like a treat stand selling maybe ice cream, dessert. It looks like it's not in use at the moment, just across from the Regal Cinemas, which I should add, the Regal and the C is currently turned off. This is so crazy to see like a mall in this current state. There's a lot of spaces that are open. Again, we're not counting foot traffic because we're here so early in the morning on a weekday. I don't expect any mall to have a lot of foot traffic. More space available. Here's one of the other spaces available. One of now more than a handful. City Trends is open. Champs is open down there. JCPenney currently closed, but they are open in the sense that they're not out of business in this location. Now, if we pan this way, we can see Macy's, one of the major anchors of this location, is in fact open, as well as Eclairs. More space available just beside the Macy's over there. More space. Here's another one that I missed, right across from the food hall. One thing I'm noticing is, obviously they have the Southland Mall sign there because that was, the name before the redevelopment plans, but they've already incorporated South Place City Center into their directory and map here. It does say new tenants coming soon based on the renders. We know that is going to be a really big Ross unless they divide it up into 2 tenants or more. But you can see there the Five Below, and this is where we're currently standing. All right, we just left the mall. We're gonna talk a little bit more about what's coming here aside from that first phase, because there's a lot. But I did not expect there to be that many stores open. In my mind, I was comparing it to Sunset Place, where more stores were closed than were open, but it was the complete opposite over here. That being said, we did see at least 10 stores that were closed and promoting the space, actually, not just closed like we saw at Sunset Place. It looked abandoned over there. Here they had the number that potential tenants can call, inquire about moving into that space with their business. So they were actively pursuing companies to go and bring their businesses here. So we saw they were building apartments there. That is not all. There's going to be in total up to 5,000 apartment units here. They're going to have 60,000 square feet of space for a medical center, 500,000 square feet for retail, restaurant, and entertainment space. And they're also going to have a 150 key hotel across this nearly 100-acre space. It's going to be absolutely crazy, but for now, let's go ahead and keep walking around the mall and see what we can find. Ross is still open, but as soon as the one at the mall opens, which probably is the same size based on that picture, they'll relocate just across to the mall area right over there. Just beside that Ross, this used to be a Kmart. You can sort of make out where the letters were. And then over there, it says Little Caesars on the side. Obviously, there's not many Kmarts left. There is one here in Miami-Dade. We made a video on that. I want you guys to see just how much space this mall has to work with in terms of the development. That is Mercedes-Benz dealership of Cutler Bay. They've got a lot of their Sprinter vans here and some of their inventory spreading into the mall's parking lot. But you can see just how empty and how much space they have here to work with. This is all part of the mall's parking lot, going all the way down there, across, and this is just one side of this mall. You guys can see now in this aerial just how huge this mall is. Like I said, this is going to be redeveloped into a massive space where people can live, work, and play. All right, so we are now up in the air and we can see where that massive space for the current at City Center is going to be. They've already added some grass, it looks like grass, around what is going to be one of the lakes. And there's going to be a lot of water features as well with this whole development. But we can see here just how huge this space is. 350 apartment units are going to occupy this space. 8-story building, garage, Presidente supermarket. And if you want to just see how it is compared to the mall as a whole, this is Southland Mall. And you can see how much space they have with the parking lots. It is severely underutilized at the moment. Not many people go to this mall. So they definitely have a lot of parking spaces that they don't need. But in any event, this is all going to be redeveloped and incorporated into a development that, as they say, will be a work, play, and live environment. But now let's get a little closer to this spot right here. We can sort of see the outline of where all these buildings are going to go, if I'm not mistaken. And if you haven't guessed it already, this used to be more parking spaces. So this gives us a little glimpse into what is going to be taking place here at Southland Mall. Well, not everything was a parking space here. Looking back in time through Google Earth reveals that part of the mall, specifically a Sears, was demolished to make way for this first phase. And if we switch back and forth, we can see that section that was removed within the past couple of years. Another benefit of this mall's location, since they will have people living here, is the fact that there is the South Dade Transitway future bus rapid transit system. Hopefully by summer it fully launches. But this is across US 1, parallel to US 1. And the buses will be able to go up and down as far as Dadeland Mall, where they can transfer to the Metro Rail and continue into maybe downtown or perhaps a little further north from there. But buses here will eventually, at least during rush hour, have priority. They're going to have these gate arms similar to what you would see at a railroad crossing right over here, where they'll stop traffic. That way the buses can keep going uninterrupted during peak hours. We can see they're currently doing some kind of modification to one of the older storefronts there. All right, so a little history on this mall, since I haven't mentioned that. It started in the 1960s as Cutler Ridge Center. This area, by the way, back then it was called Cutler Ridge, and then more recently it became known as Cutler Bay. In 1978, it expanded as Cutler Ridge Mall. This photograph from the Miami Herald dated 1981 shows what that mall looked like from the exterior. And then, like many things back then, especially down south in this area, Hurricane Andrew in 1992 destroyed much of the mall. So it had to be rebuilt, and when it was rebuilt, it was renamed into Southland Mall. So now, how long do you guys think this project is going to take? I talked to you guys about phase 1, Q3 2027, but as a whole, the entire 98 acres, the entire $1.5 billion redevelopment, try guessing before I tell you how long this is going to take and see if you're correct. Completion is estimated to take 7 years. So they broke ground 2025. That puts it at roughly 2032, assuming there's no delays due to bad weather or shortage of supplies or any other obstacle that may come in the way of this development. It's believed that during construction throughout all those years, it's going to create 3,000 jobs. And then after construction, 2,000 permanent jobs. And city officials believe it's going to generate $44 million in revenue throughout its first 5 years after opening. All right, it is a bit windy outside, so I'm doing the outro in my car. It is also very hot. So, what did you guys think about this? Southland Mall turning into South Place City Center. Comparing the renders to what we saw today, it is completely unrecognizable what they're going to do with this place. $1.5 billion development, a hotel, offices, new retail, new restaurants, an apartment building, which is currently going up right now as part of the first phase. It is crazy. If you have any memories of Southland Mall, I asked this in the other video with Sunset Place, and I loved reading your comments. I've never been to Sunset Place, and I've also never been to this mall, so I can't really compare it to what it used to be. So I'm relying on you guys to let me know in the comments if you have any experiences with this mall. And I'm especially interested to know what you think. If you've been here or if you're a resident of this area, what do you think about the changes that are coming, the major changes that are coming to this development here, almost 100 acres? It's going to be hard to not notice this when construction fully gets underway across multiple phases. So again, let me know in the comments what you think. With that said, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the bell button. You'll be notified each time I upload a new video. And with that said, I will catch you in the next video. Signing off from Cutler Bay.